recent disclosure from the UK Ministry of Defence regarding the cancellation of upgrade plans for HMS Iron Duke marks another chapter in the long and often difficult story of balancing aging capabilities with modern operational needs. Although the written answer provided by Defence Minister Luke Pollard is concise, it reveals a complex network of financial pressures, shifting priorities, and hard choices facing the Royal Navy as it attempts to maintain credible maritime power with a fleet that is simultaneously modernizing and shrinking. The decision to halt the conversion of Iron Duke is not merely an isolated budgetary adjustment, it is part of a broader recalibration of how the UK allocates scarce defence resources in an era of heightened global competition. At the core of the decision is the assessment that the proposed upgrade no longer delivered sufficient return on investment. Iron Duke, a Type 23 frigate launched in the early 1990s, has served well beyond the originally intended service life of the class. The plan involved removing a Type 2087 towed array sonar system from another decommissioned frigate and installing it aboard Iron Duke. This would have allowed the ship to contribute meaningfully to anti-submarine warfare missions, an area where the Royal Navy considers the Type 2087 system its gold standard. However, Pollard's explanation makes clear that the theoretical gains of such a retrofit were undermined by the practical realities of time, cost, and the vessel's dwindling remaining years of operational utility. This logic reflects a fundamental challenge in naval planning. Legacy platforms often become increasingly expensive to maintain or modernize, particularly when the upgrades require significant structural changes. In the case of Iron Duke, the MOD appears to have concluded that the ship's remaining service life would be too short to justify the weeks or months the vessel would spend in refit. Every day a ship is in dock, it cannot contribute to ongoing commitments, and the Royal Navy's surface fleet is already under pressure due to limited hull numbers and demanding global deployments. Investing in a major upgrade for a ship approaching the end of its career may have created an illusion of enhanced capability, while in practice delivering only a brief operational window, if any. The minister's reference to competing operational priorities hints at a broader strategic picture. The UK is in the midst of transitioning from Type 23 frigates to the new Type 26 and Type 31 classes, both of which are expected to form the backbone of future Royal Navy operations. Type 26 in particular is designed around advanced anti-submarine warfare capabilities, including a modern towed array sonar of its own. Directing limited resources toward platforms that will define the fleet for the next 3 decades, rather than retrofitting ships nearing retirement, is a logical, if difficult, decision for planners who must handle both immediate readiness and long-term force structure. There is also a fiscal angle that cannot be ignored. Defense budgets, even when nominally increased, face inflationary pressures, rising maintenance costs, and the growing expense of high-technology equipment. The MOD statement emphasizes affordability and value for money, suggesting that the upgrade program for Iron Duke likely ballooned beyond earlier estimates. Retrofitting complex systems onto aging hulls often reveals unexpected structural issues, outdated wiring, or compatibility problems, driving costs far above initial projections. In such circumstances, canceling the program, though politically awkward, is often the only responsible financial option. Nevertheless, the cancellation raises questions about fleet resilience and anti-submarine readiness. The Royal Navy has long prided itself on its ASW expertise, particularly given the increasing activity of Russian submarines in the North Atlantic. Every Type 23 equipped with a Type 2087 system contributes significantly to NATO's ability to monitor underwater movement in key maritime choke points. Losing the opportunity to field an additional towed array frigate may create capability gaps, especially as more older ships are withdrawn before their replacements enter full service. While Pollard's statement frames the decision as an optimization of resources, critics may argue that it signals a worrying reduction in practical ASW capacity during a period of growing undersea competition. Another dimension worth considering is the symbolic impact on morale and public perception. The Type 23 class has served the Royal Navy for over 3 decades, carrying out missions from counter-piracy to escort duties and anti-submarine patrols. Cancelled upgrades, early decommissionings, and constrained maintenance schedules can create the impression that the Navy is continually forced to choose between maintaining existing ships and preparing for future capability. For sailors serving aboard aging vessels, such decisions may reinforce feelings that their platforms are being allowed to wind down without sufficient investment, even though the crews continue to deliver operational output. At the same time, it is clear that the MOD is attempting to focus on programs that promise greater strategic returns. Redirecting funds from a short-lived upgrade on Iron Duke likely means accelerating work on newer platforms or ensuring that currently serving frontline ships receive essential maintenance and modernization. In an era of contested seas, high-tempo operations, and rapid technological change, effective prioritization is vital. The challenge lies in managing this transition without creating temporary but impactful shortfalls. There is also the issue of opportunity cost. Resources that would have gone into Iron Duke might now support more urgent needs such as improving availability of the existing Type 23 fleet, bolstering logistics for submarine operations, or investing in unmanned underwater systems. The MOD's statement that resources were reprioritized to deliver greater operational effect suggests that the cancelled upgrade was not simply a cost-cutting measure but part of a deliberate strategy to reallocate capability investment. However, without transparency on where exactly those resources will be directed, the decision inevitably invites scrutiny. From a broader defense industrial perspective, the cancellation reflects a wider trend across Western navies, the diminishing returns of extending the service lives of Cold War-era platforms. The complexity, digital infrastructure, and power demands of modern systems frequently exceed the design parameters of older hulls, making upgrades not only expensive but sometimes technically impractical. The Royal Navy's move suggests a recognition that some ships are better retired on schedule rather than continuously patched and upgraded in an attempt to keep pace with 21st-century threats. Ultimately, the discontinuation of the HMS Iron Duke upgrade program exemplifies the hard trade-offs modern militaries must make. It is a decision grounded in pragmatic assessments of cost, time, and future capability, but it also highlights the fragile balance the UK must maintain as it attempts to modernize its fleet without sacrificing near-term operational readiness. While the MOD insists that the reallocation of resources will enhance overall effectiveness, the loss of another potential ASW-capable frigate inevitably sharpens concerns about fleet numbers and maritime security. For observers of naval strategy, this development underscores the importance of sustained, long-term investment in future platforms while recognizing the limitations of extending aging ships. HMS Iron Duke has served the Royal Navy faithfully for decades, but as defense priorities evolve, her cancelled upgrade may be seen less as a setback and more as a pragmatic step toward building a fleet fit for the challenges of the coming decades.